from Benny.
Hello? Oh, so what are we doing here? Just, shooting the breeze?
Congratulations on the movie. One of the things that I think that Jeff Nichols, the writer-director, does so well is he captures these times and places that are they're gone. And like this movie, especially like the first few years of the story, it deals with a subject like a time and a place that's just gone. And the way the motorcycle culture, how it started versus what it morphed into. Can you sort of both touch on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think the motorcycle group go through such a transformation. I think each character does as a result of the group and what they experience and kind of go through. Because I think we start in the early 60s and then finish in the early 70s. But I think Jeff speaks so beautifully, which you were literally just saying, about this sense of nostalgia and longing for a time that has since passed. And I think, something I really kind of drew from and admired was that you can really see the authenticity of these people in this moment and what they believed in and how they presented themselves. I think it's so beautifully celebrated and explored within this film.
What do I add to that? That idea of nostalgia, Jeff mentioned that yesterday. And I don't want to spoil anything from the movie, but it made me, it brought up a lot. And it brought up a lot in my own life. I think of certain periods of time where I was surrounded by certain people or I was in a particular environment. And I mean, you kind of have that as an actor all the time because you're creating these families with each set, and then you go on and you might not see people for years, or you may never see certain people again. And that then you look back on that time period and that's that feeling of nostalgia of something that doesn't exist anymore.
I think as well, like just the exploration of like how external forces can influence you. In this time in America, it was, there was the Vietnam War. There was a huge, the kind of epidemic of the heroin kind of crisis, and how that kind of violence, and I don't know what the other word is, but it felt like there was a lot of unease in the world, and how that kind of infiltrated its way into these people's lives naturally, as it does, with any given moment in time. So that's something that's definitely kind of explored within the Vandals as well.
This is a fun question, so bear with me. At least I think it's fun. So Benny is like the super attractive one of the group that stops your character's Kathy in her tracks when they first meet. So what is it like for you getting a script from Jeff that says, I want you to play like the super attractive one and that can stop her in her tracks? And part two is, when did you realize you might be more attractive than other men?
Oh my God. I'll help you with that.
Can
for
you help
1
me?
second? Yeah. Because I don't think Benny was ever described as that. I think the interesting thing about Benny was that Austin never had an image of him. None of us did. None of us ever had an image of Benny. So that kind of element of mystery, he was an enigma, and I think that is also, not only is he a beautiful man, but it was those qualities about him that drew her and I think everybody else towards him. It was this sense of like freedom and not belonging and not needing anything else, which I think is ultimately what
Sure. I just think like the way that Jeff photographs it and the way that you're at the pool table, it's very much like, at least that's the way I read the scene.
Yeah.
And, because she doesn't know him yet.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun with the, part two.
You're making me blush though. I think that was something that Jeff and I talked about, was the enigma quality. How you see the side of his face. You see the back of his body first, and you don't fully see him full on, and so that mystery around him, and then we had those amazing images to go off of. So it was
because you then ended up getting an image of him, right?
Yeah.
Was that afterwards?
Which
or
almost
during?
wasn't. That was during filming.
Okay.
Suddenly I saw a picture of the front of Benny's face, which even Jeff, he said, that's not Benny. I mean, it doesn't.
Right, then it feels
you've
different.
Created this image of who he is in our mind,
I'll let you off the hook. Thank you. So one of the things that's crazy is, and listen, I know how movies are made, and there are shots of all the actors on vintage bikes actually riding without helmets. That's a straight up stunt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and I know that I spoke to Jeff that, you know, like the insurance company needed to know. So what is it like filming those kinds of scenes where you're riding around without helmets?
It's a miracle we got this film insured. I remember when we were first having the conversations about how to do it, and somebody pitched the idea of these helmets that
Oh my God, that the hair on the top.
on the outside. And I saw a picture, and it's the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen because it makes your head look like it's this big and there's hair on the outside. I immediately said, there's no way that's possible.
Yeah, just for one day that everyone had to do that.
Yeah, so instead I just said, you know, if we just train really hard to the point where it's second nature, then hopefully we can get through it in one piece. And I only crashed once, so we're okay. Yeah.
Well, the thing about it, and people don't realize, is vintage bikes are not like modern bikes. Like I spoke to Norman about it, about the way that you brake. It's a completely, there's no disc brakes.
Yeah, no.
You know, you roll to a stop. I mean, it's completely different.
Yeah. Yeah, the brakes squeak the whole time, and it sounds like you're trying to stop a train.
Yeah. I mean, but that's why I couldn't believe when I was seeing, because you know what it's like when you see two people watching a movie and you know they're on some sort of machine.
That they're on a rig the whole time.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I respected this so much, because you could see that everyone's really doing it.
I can't believe we got the movie made. I'm so grateful for that. Movies like Easy Rider were hugely impactful on me. And so to get to make a film in that way to where you're actually practically doing it is an incredible gift.
I have to compliment you on your accent and your vocal delivery in this movie, because it's phenomenal. So can you sort of talk about, because obviously everyone is hearing your real voice, what is it like? Do you go method a little bit where you're talking that way throughout the day, or do you turn it on and off?
Yeah, I turn it on and off purely because I just couldn't take myself seriously. If I was like asking Austin, you know, how his weekend was in my Kathy accent, I wouldn't be able to focus, I don't think. But just like spending a lot of time with the dialogue and the audio, and kind of getting to grips with specific vowel sounds, because a lot of Kathy's dialect was like a huge contradiction. Like, it wasn't a general Chicago, so it was like making the decision to not do that and really focus in and try and emulate her and as truthfully as possible. So yeah, just a lot of repetition and kind of going over it to a point, like Austin says, with the bikes, of like doing something so much that when you actually get there on the day, it's hopefully second nature, and it's not something that you're really aware of, so that you're able to just kind of play the truth of a scene and kind of be in the moment.
Well, I have to stop. I'm just going to say you guys are both fantastic in this, and I wish you nothing but the best.